Hello there.
Well, hello there.
Hello to you, Ewan McGregor.
But yeah, welcome to another episode of Rankum, and I thought we'd do a nice. We had a nice fun one here. Because last year you'll remember we did top shelf movie franchises. But I thought, well, why not do trilogies? Because there's so many trilogies out there. Um, I've already pissed people off in the comments before we even started because there's like one condition that I'd made is they have to be pure trilogies, and which sadly that did mean I had to eliminate Star Wars because like the way I see it, like it's called a saga, like it's an overarching story and from 1 to 6. So yeah, but there's some ones there. There's like argue as much as you want, but X-Men is pretty much three different trilogies. Even though Hugh Jackman is in all of them, but yeah. But anyway, I do have a great panel here. Returning again is I've got Caleb Boatman. Caleb, how's it going?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm very happy to be here, Mr. Malcolm in the Middle Earth. But yeah, I think this is an interesting topic. I, for one, support the choice to eliminate Star Wars because I do look at that as, a part of a continuous story rather than its own trilogy. So yeah, I definitely support that decision. I think we're gonna have a very interesting panel here. I think it's gonna be a whole lot of fun.
And also, he's usually here, being the grumpy old man, and we've got Cody. Cody, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm going to be real grumpy today. My opinion doesn't matter, and it's left in the hands of these jokers. This is a terrible idea. I request that somebody else join this panel right now so we don't have this problem, because I like my opinion to count. Again, one, I've just joined as a showrunner of Warzone, and the other quotes all the time and it drives me off the walls. So I'll let you decide which one's which, but I'm ready to no vote everything and only yes vote myself, even though it won't mean anything.
And also, Ryan, we've got here. Ryan, how's it going?
I'm doing well, sir. Thank you very much for having me. I wish we could have had a panel of happy-go-lucky people, but we have to have Mr. Grumpy Pants over here with Cody, but that's fine. We can roll with it, and don't worry. We got plenty of options here, even though the saga of Star Wars has been eliminated, but it's fine. No worries. And during my research, I found there were more trilogies than I originally thought, so that makes this a good thing. So this ought to be a really good show, and this is a good topic for tonight, so let's do it.
Yeah, and I mean, I made that decision because I was thinking about it, and there's a good chance that if I did it, there's a good chance it could have ended up being pretty much similar to the franchises list, and this opens it up to more things to sort of be different. But yeah, and anyway, how the show works is a roundtable discussion. We each throw out a trilogy that we think deserves to be on the list, and then the other three will say yes or no to it. And yeah, but yeah, there's no saving. That rule is gone. So, but anyway, to do the first pick, I'm going to go to Ryan because we all are predicting what he's going to throw out first.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I heard there was like a betting pool going on what Ryan's going to go for, I guess. Well, let's roll into this then. The first one I want to put on the table here is something that the filmmakers and producers have actually said in exclusive interviews, saying that it will never be rebooted, it will never be sequelized, it will never be put into a TV series or any of the sort over their dead bodies, as they put it. And that would be the 1.21 gigawatts of energy that this franchise is, and that is Back to the Future. Back to the Future is certainly one of my all-time favorite trilogies. It's certainly, I think, to be one of the absolute best trilogies ever made in the history of cinema. So I'm going to put that on the table. Let's go, jump in our DeLorean, go through time. Let's go Back to the Future, guys. Let's do it.
Okay, Back to the Future's on the table. Caleb, What do you say about Back to the Future?
Short answer, a big yes from me. I think this is a trilogy that I grew up watching. When I was younger, I kind of, my dad was like, "Hey, watch this movie. It's great." And then I was like, "Okay." And yeah, I fell in love with these movies. I love all three of them. At one point, all three of them have been my favorite film in the trilogy, and that's a sign of a good trilogy because I think there's unique things about all three of them that you can find. So I love all three of these movies. Right now, the first one is my favorite, but I think you can find something to enjoy about all three of these movies.
Cody, what do you say about Back to the Future?
Who's the president? Ronald Reagan, the actor? Who's the vice president? Jerry Lewis? Yeah, Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis put out these films, and they did an amazing job. I will disagree because I think the problem that we get along with all these trilogies is there's hardly ever a perfect trilogy, and I think they go into a little problem in the second one. It gets a little convoluted, but the third one's just, they set it, they lock it down where it's at, and they have fun with it, and that's what I love. The first one will always be in my top 10. That will never change. It is one of the best movies. I just love the simple nuances that they add in these. Like, it's past JFK Boulevard. Who the hell is JFF Kennedy? Like, those moments will always be with me and last. Yeah, I could not agree more with Ryan on this. This trilogy, if it didn't get on, I think my dad would have killed me. So yeah, I think this is one of the first movies I remember watching. It's fantastic. So yeah,
endlessly quotable.
It is. It 100% is.
But yeah, Back to the Future has made it on anyway. But I would have totally would have suggested it anyway. As like,
you have to decide, don't you? Because Ryan doesn't get any opinion on this. So if you would have said no,
there's already 2 yes votes.
Oh, 2. We only have to have 2. Sweet. This just made it a lot better for me. I thought we had to get 3, like a solid yes. Okay, good.
Cody's happier now.
We're all in agreement. This is going to be a good time.
Yeah. But yeah, like, I mean, yeah, there's definitely no such thing as perfect trilogy. Like, anyone who tries to claim that there was a perfect trilogy out there is ignoring all the bad parts of a specific movie. Like, it's like the people who try to say that Indiana Jones is only a trilogy because the fourth one doesn't.
It is. We don't talk about the fourth. It does.
But anyway, Back to the Future has made it on. Caleb, we'll throw it to you for your first pick.
No.
Don't worry, Cody. I'm not saying that one yet.
Oh dear.
My first one is going to be. We were before the stream started. We were just talking about this trilogy. It is the Toy Story trilogy. This is a series that, it's a very funny series. It's one of the, iconic kind of CGI animated movies, but I think it's got that emotional depth that does kind of journey throughout the 3 movies. There has been some people who might not, don't like the third one as much. I think the third one's a little bit under the first 2, but I do still think there are good things about Toy Story 3, and I do think that there are some things that really work about that movie. But yeah, I think throughout that movie there's that consistent journey that really works, and I love the first 2 definitely, and I love parts of Toy Story 3, and I think they're all good movies.
Cody, what do you say about Toy Story?
To quote one of my favorite hosts in this kind of community that we all love, and even a man in jail smiles every once in a while. That's Mr. Hal Rudnick. I like the third one is rubbing off on me more and more every time I watch it. It's not as good as I remember it to be. They take a lot of the second notes and play off of it because they're it's an emotional, just force you to cry moments. Because they were never going to kill them in a flipping furnace. But guess what? We all thought they were. And it was going to be a miserable, miserable moment. Whatever that was. Whatever you refer to that. They're about to be burned alive. But the first 2 are epic. The first 2, they do something in the second one where take what it is and elevate it, which is what a good sequel does, and that's what they do. The third one's good. It's just nowhere near the other two for me anymore. So I would give it a yes vote because, again, there's only one perfect trilogy out there that I truly believe exists. And so, yeah, it gets a yes vote.
Ryan, what do you say about Toy Story?
Yeah, I sooner or later I need to sit down and rewatch all three because I keep finding myself watching the first one more so than anything. I don't know. Maybe it's just because this first one holds a special place in my heart because it was one of the first few movies I started quoting as a kid when I was in school to all my fellow classmates, and they laughed and they enjoyed it every time I did it because I was entertaining back then, and I still am today, folks. But yeah, Toy Story is a heck yes. Like, if you don't put this on any list of trilogies, you're out of your mind. This thing did so much for the studio Pixar. It did so much for animation. It did so much for just movie-going audiences and cinematic experience as a whole. You can enjoy this film at any point in time in your life, and it just takes you back. So this trilogy holds some good memories for me. So it's definitely a yes. Toy Story, I mean, yeah, it's automatic.
But yeah, it's definitely a yes for me. This is the last chance that we can be able to call it a great trilogy because they've decided to give it a fun.
Terrible idea.
I mean, it's a terrible idea, but for all we know, we could see it, and it could be a great movie. It's one of those ones. Yeah, it's one of those we'll see moments. But for now, it is still a trilogy. 4 has not been released, so it's worthy of being on the list. Cody, what is the first one you're going to bring up?
Okay, so there will be surefire ones that we start mentioning, and they'll be like, yeah. We've mentioned 2 of them kind of now, but I'm going to go with one. I think it's also surefire, but some people may not think it is. And I'm going Godfather. And this is the basics of why I put it on there. The first 2 films are arguably one of the best films ever made in cinema. The third one, yes, does not live up to the hype of the first 2 at all. But when you break it down, it is not a terrible movie. It's just not even close to the others. So at the end of the day, it's still those 3 movies are still, they're watchable. They're not trash. And the first 2 are, I had to watch them for a Full Metal match again, and like they keep going up every time I have to watch them, and it's incredible. Yeah, so I'm going Godfather. I already know I got one no vote because one person hasn't seen it.
Caleb, you've got the Godfather behind you somewhere. What do you say about it?
I don't actually remember where Vito went now. But Vito, I know Vito's in the house somewhere, but yeah, the first 2 are 2 of the greatest movies ever made. I will stand by that. I'm debating because of that third one, because that third one is such a weak link. I'm debating, but Cody, calm yourself, because I didn't say no yet. I said I was debating.
I'm looking for a new head to help me run Warzone and multiplayer. Anybody?
Cody, calm yourself, because I'm gonna give it a yes. But now keep that in mind that you had some goodwill, because I'm gonna need some goodwill when I bring up my next pick.
I put Toy Story on the list. I think we're fair.
That's not what I need.
I think I know which one he's gonna go for, but we'll see.
Ryan, what do you say about The Godfather?
Unfortunately, this is gonna have to be an offer I have to refuse because I've only seen the first one. I haven't seen Godfather 2 or 3, so without seeing the complete trilogy and having an actual assessment of this franchise, I can't say anything. I've only seen the first one, so it's a no for me.
And that sucks because Malcolm is a surefire no because he hasn't seen them.
Really?
I'm actually in the same boat. I've only seen the first one.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Malcolm and I are twins.
But yeah, so unfortunately, because of that, I can't say no. I mean, maybe if I'd seen the first 2, like, I probably could have said yes, but until I see the second one, I really can't judge it. So unfortunately,
when you go to bed tonight and you might find a horse in your bed, no, it wasn't me. Just letting you know.
I mean, I'd much rather find a horse's head than a headless horse. So
That's fair.
Godfather is out.
Well, Peter Jackson, go ahead.
But anyway, I'm pretty sure they're just waiting for me to mention the big one, but I'm not going to do that.
What?
You're not going to go to that one?
Not right
Well,
now.
after backfire and the big one doesn't even make it on.
I'm going to go
contractually obligated to bring it up.
I'm going to go for one which I actually predicted would be the first one that Cody was going to bring up, but he didn't. I'm going to bring up the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. With this franchise, it's a series of reboots, which is all separate ones on their own. So, but yeah, I mean, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy is like, once again, you've got two really good movies in the first two, but yet the third one doesn't stick the landings quite well. But there is still some good moments in it. I mean, I do like Tobey Maguire and all that, and I like the villains are pretty good, but I do think this Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy belongs in this list. Caleb, what do you say about Sam Raimi Spider-Man?
Okay. I'm just going to break down my thoughts on each film in the trilogy. First one, I think, is a pretty good superhero movie, and I think it's got a unique tone that I don't think we really see from superhero movies, with the exception, I think, really, Aquaman was the only other movie to capture the unique tone that Spider-Man had. That not really, capturing the goofiness without being like joking, having to joke about it or be self-referential. Just be kind of goofy and fun and roll with it. I think the second one is one of the best superhero movies ever made. I think the third one has some okay moments, but it's kind of a crap pile. It's kind of a crap pile. So I'm because there are 10. We have 10 spots left, and there are exactly 10 movies that I feel like have more consistent movies in quality, where all 3 of the movies in there are good. I'm gonna have to give it a no.
Cody, what do you say about Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy?
Spider-Man. This was a tough one on my list because number 1 and number 2 are so close in my heart. They are personally in the top. They are in the top 10 of my comic book movies.
Oh, wow.
Might be my top 15 for Spider-Man 1. But Spider-Man 2 is my favorite Spider-Man movie by far. 3 is bad. It is real bad. But on my list, I had The Godfather. Godfather doesn't exist anymore. So Spider-Man gets a yes vote for me, because if you're going to take out the family, I'm going to put in my favorite superhero of all time and put Spider-Man there. Jameson, you're useless.
Ryan, it's down to you. What do you say about Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy?
Oh, man. Let me think. Yeah, I mean, there's a few other trilogies that I would just slightly put above this one, but then again, the first 2 mean so much to so many different audiences, including myself, as someone who grew up on the 90s animated series on the great network that used to exist, known as Fox Kids back in the day. Love that animated series. I will always have a special place in my heart for that. And then when the movies came out, my mind was just blown, especially by the first one, to see that hero come to life on the big screen and for that time. Yeah. I'm gonna give Spider-Man a yes, because the first 2 are just so good. There's some good themes in there. The first one is always gonna have a special place in my heart, because seeing the animated series brought to life in that first film just really meant so much to me as a kid, and it still does now. And Spider-Man is one of my favorite characters in when it comes to comic book heroes. So yeah, let's put the web slinger in there.
But yeah, so Spider-Man does make the list, and just to bring up a point that Stardrew did make, yes, they did reference it in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, but canonically, I don't think that means it is part of the
it's
series.
not connected at all.
No, it's
So,
not.
yeah.
It's a separate movie.
They bring every Spider-Man in that game. So
Exactly. But yeah. But anyway, it's back to you, Ryan. What is the next trilogy you're bringing up?
Oh Lord.
By the way,
Hey, Ryan,
real quick,
just remember, Man of Steel does not have two other.
yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, Warner Brothers is never going to give me my Man of Steel 2 or 3. Nice job, you idiots. Warner Brothers and DC. Morons. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. All right, the next trilogy I want to bring up is I guess I should bring that one. Yeah, I'll bring this one up. I feel a lot of people and we've done this with a few franchises already, with the third one being thrown under a bus because of how bad it is. And yes, there are some bad third installments. There's no question. But for me, I enjoyed all three of these movies. I don't care what anybody says about the third one. And that's going to be Chris Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. Got to put in the Dark Knight. Got to put in Batman, because I did a rewatch of all three of them most recently, and I still enjoy all three of them to a certain extent. I do feel the Dark Knight is lower for me than a lot of other people would say. So that's my hot take right there. For me, it's Batman Begins, then Rises, then Dark Knight. That's how I would rank the trilogy in my mind. I know I'm in a small minority. That's fine. I'll roll with that. But I like Batman. This trilogy is pretty gosh darn good. Nolan, I think, did a magnificent job with it. The score by Hans Zimmer is one of the best of all time. So let's put Batman and let's give him his due justice with the Dark Knight trilogy.
Because Robert's not here, I'm going to do this. Where did the other drugs go?
I don't think that's how that line goes exactly, but all right.
Well, I know it's not how it goes exactly. I don't think it. But anyway, Caleb, what do you say about the Dark Knight trilogy?
Well, the first one is probably my favorite superhero origin story movie ever. I think that's the best origin movie that there is when it comes to superhero films. I think the second one, people label it as one of the greatest comic book movies of all time, and I agree with them. I think it is, if not the greatest comic book movie of all time. It's definitely one of them. The third one falters a little bit, but I still like it. I think there are definitely, I think Anne Hathaway and Tom Hardy are both really great in that. So, and Christian Bale still giving a really good performance. So, yeah, Dark Knight gets yes from me.
Cody, what do you say about the Dark Knight trilogy?
What if I rip that thing off your face? Would it hurt? Extremely. For you. Two of these movies are in my top 3 of all time in comic book movies.
Jeez.
It goes Batman Begins, Spider-Man 2, Dark Knight. So on that note alone, I can't say no, because I don't really like. I don't love Dark Knight Rises. But I think the reason why I don't love Dark Knight Rises is because of the Dark Knight. Because they decided to walk off, in a baseball term, with the second one, and then came out with a third one that could not be topped. Like, you can't top what they just did before. Plus, the Joker, Heath Ledger's passing, forced Nolan to change up what his game plan was, because that was unexpected. And you go with Bane. And I think Tom Hardy's not the problem. I think what they kind of did to Bane with the mask and all that BS was a little rough. But it's still, like I said with Godfather, the third one's still watchable. The third one is still passable. And I don't think this is a garbage film. I just think this is a standard comic book movie. Like, that's basically where it falls. If Dark Knight's a phenomenal, this is watchable. So I give it this is an absolute yes. That's insane if you don't vote this on.
And with that, it does make the list, and I would have gone yes as well. Like, Batman Begins is my favorite out of the 3. Like, I mean, there's like a lot of people go, "Oh, Dark Knight's so much better," but I mean,
who are you? I'm Batman.
but I mean,
So good.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones which it's just fun and entertaining.
Plus, I was just able to buy Batman Begins on 4K for $5. Deal of the century.
Nice.
Deal of the century. Just saying. Go ahead.
Great pick. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, who knows who the next Batman's going to be? There's so much rumors out there that it's going to be interesting to see
Jackman.
Hugh Jackman.
I could see that actually, but anyway, this is not Collider Movie Talk. This is not Take 3 Movie Talk. But
no.
But Caleb, it's back to you. What is the next trilogy you're going to bring up?
Oh no.
I'm going between what?
Nothing. Go ahead.
I'm between my Hail Mary pick and my big one, and I think because I still will get a guarantee come back to me mathematically, so I still will get to add one more in there at the end. I am going to go with
the stream.
What?
We could boot you off the stream. Just remember that.
But I am going to go with the big one, Lord of the Rings. I think all three of those movies are good. The first two are two of the greatest movies of all time, especially fantasy movies of all time. I think the third one, I'll admit, I think it's not quite as good, but I think it's still a really well-made epic. So, yeah, Lord of the Rings is my pick. Yeah, it's amazing, and people love it for a reason. Malcolm, if you say no, I think you might get kicked out of your country, so be careful.
Cody, Lord of the Rings is on the table. What do you say?
If Cody says no, Robert's going to have a fit.
Yes. For one, I'm under contract to say yes regardless. But how dare you, sir, saying that the first two are great, but the third one's just an app. This is.
I said it was good.
Shut your mouth. This is the perfect trilogy. There's no questions about it. Now I get it. I get it if you do not find this your cup of tea in movies. Understandable. If it does not connect with you where you want to go back and rewatch, that is completely fine. I will justify your answer. But as a filmmaking, it is perfect. From story get-go to story end, It is fantastic. Am I still there? Hello.
Yeah, you froze for a second, though.
It is epic. It's fantastic. It is the only perfect trilogy I think that exists out there. Hell yes.
Brian, what do you say about Lord of the Rings?
All right. I actually did rewatch this entire trilogy from beginning to end, all three installments. So I did do research long before this topic ever came up for rank 'em. But I will say, respectfully, I'm going to have to 100% disagree. I do not think this trilogy is perfect. I think it's a good, decent trilogy, but it is not personally, it's not in my top 12 or top 10 or top 5, however you want to slice that. I think they're good adventure movies. They're fun to watch. They're really well shot, really well made. Peter Jackson and his team put more than 100% into making these three incredible films, on their own and as a trilogy. It's incredible what they did, but it is not, for me anyway. I don't think it's top 12 material for me. I watched all three. The third one has like 5 or 6 freaking endings. It can't decide where and how it wants to end. And then the second one's fine, but to me, the Fellowship of the Ring is always going to be my favorite installment of that franchise, just because of how it all starts in the world building and the battle sequences and the themes and the effects, all that jazz. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to say no for Lord of the Rings. Go ahead, Internet. You can yell at me. You can bring your pitchforks and your torches, but I'm not one of those guys who loves the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I just don't. I like the trilogy, but I don't love it.
Well, I mean, it absolutely makes the list. I mean, I'm not going to say no to it at all.
Yeah, I know. You were there when it was made anyway, so it's an automatic yes.
And I mean, I'm sure Caleb Coho will agree a bit. Oh, wait, Caleb Coho has never seen the Lord of the Rings.
We finally saw the Fellowship, but that's it.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
but yeah, Lord of the Rings definitely deserves in this list, and it's going to be yes for me. But yeah, Cody, it's back to you. What's the next movie you're going to bring up?
That just made me want to punch somebody. It's nothing against you, but dang, I felt like somebody just kicked my child, and I had to like just sit back and watch it happen.
Nobody kicked Robert.
My next, leave my son out of this. My next one is Quack.
No.
Quack. Just kidding.
No.
Just kidding.
Oh,
I
Were
love
you
the
Jim
Mighty
Green?
dude,
I
I really
love
thought
the
you were going
Mighty
to bring that
Ducks.
up.
I love the Mighty Ducks, but it will not make it. I know it won't make it. So,
Would have been a yes for me.
No.
this is a bold move. Let's see if it pays off. I am an X-Men apologist. I stand on the hill. I die on the sword. I am fine with it. My two favorite X-Men movies are X-Men First Class and Days of Future Past. Yes, is Apocalypse not great? 100%. I don't think it's fanforstic. I don't think it's Last Stand. They don't take the characters and insult them. The script wasn't there for them, and the villain was not thought out properly. That's the problem with that movie. It is not because it's a bad movie. So my vote is that trilogy. I watched First Class the other day. It is insane. And Days of Future Past just gets better. And Apocalypse still gives you something that you still get those characters. You still can be excited for what they could go with next. It doesn't like say, I'm done with it forever, like Last Stand was for a lot of people. So I'm nominating the X-Men.
Before I go to the votes, the cool guy says in the chat, Ryan, you should probably lock your doors and look under the bed, because once Robert finds out, you're screwed.
No, I'm not. I'm going to be just fine. But thank you for the concern.
You watched the other three, right? Have you ever seen Gollum? That's what happens when somebody no votes with Robert. He turns completely into it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Caleb, what do you say about X-Men First Class to Apocalypse?
I think it's the X-Men Beginnings trilogy, as it's labeled on the Blu-ray set that they put out.
Here's the thing. I am also an X-Men apologist.
Mm-hmm.
There are only 2 films in the X-Men canon that I don't actually like.
Mm-hmm.
Those 2 films are X-Men Origins Wolverine and X-Men Apocalypse. I am a Last Stand defender. I'm like the only person. I'm the one Last Stand defender.
I'm with you. No, I'm with you.
So you're gonna take the man that bends metal and manipulates metal and put him in the forest? Please tell me you defend Last Stand one more time.
Yeah,
Caleb
there's
and I
some
both
good.
defended.
There's some. The good stuff outweighs the bad, Mr. Barryman.
Yes, it does.
Oh yeah, the Golden Gate Bridge, beautiful, great.
Lift the bridge.
Okay, Violet Beauregard, go back to the chocolate factory.
Nice. I like that.
Anyway, Caleb, what was that? Was that a yes?
Was that a yes or a no?
I wasn't quite. I hadn't gotten to there, but because there are other movies where I like all of them in the trilogy, I'm gonna have to give it a no. Like, there are other movies on this list. There are more than 10 or however many we need left that I like on there. So that like all 3 of them. So that's gonna be a no for me, dog.
Ryan, what do you say about X-Men Beginnings, or whatever they want to call it?
Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to be. I'm not trying to correct it. You're the host. You call the shots. I'm just trying to help.
Well, I mean,
you know, because I saw it in Best Buy and it says X-Men Beginnings Trilogy. I'm like, they renamed you. I see what you did there, 20th Century Fox, whatever's left of you. But anyhow, Yeah, my favorite X-Men movie of all time is in this trilogy, and that would be Days of Future Past. It's the best X-Men of all time. But however, as much as I like First Class, and I will worship the ground that Days of Future Past walks on, and Apocalypse is fine. I don't hate it. I think it's fine the way it is, and you can still get good stuff out of it. Like you were saying, what was it? Cody was saying earlier. But man, this is. There's another X-Men trilogy that I. It's my favorite X-Men movie of all time. It'll probably end up on the list anyway, so never mind. You know what? I was going to go one way. I'm going to sway the other. I'll say yes. Because Days of Future Past is my favorite X-Men of all time. So by default, I have to include the other two in my. And I do like the other two. It's just Days of Future Past is my favorite. But yeah, X-Men Beginnings trilogy. Congratulations, you made the list.
Well, not yet. Caleb said
not yet. Never mind.
Yeah.
Back to you at the desk.
But it does, because I'm saying yes to it, because as I said,
there you go, Cody.
As I said on the First Class watch log, like I love I love First Class and Days of Future Past more than I loved the first two X-Men movies.
Ooh. Okay.
But yeah, and I mean, I enjoy watching Apocalypse. I mean, like if you'd seen our top 10 X-Men movies list, like we had Jay Washington on that, and he threw a fit when we didn't have when Apocalypse got higher than Last Stand, because he does not like Apocalypse at all. But but anyway, with that the X-Men Beginnings trilogy, or whatever they decide to call it, I own each of them as a separate set anyway, so it doesn't.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's like, I'll call it that because why not? But
it's basically their version of prequels.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's one of those ones, like, it doesn't really matter what they call it; it's still a trilogy. So either way, but I'm going to try for that. I'm going to bring up we don't have a lot of actual comedy trilogies on here, so I'm going to try and get Austin Powers on here. I love the Austin Powers trilogy. This is one of those characters which I've always resonated like. Goldmember is not the best one in there, but I do think the second one is the best out of that trilogy. But I love Austin Powers. I love everything good. Like Mike Myers is one that he can switch between characters without breaking a sweat as someone throws a glass all over the place or cutlery or something. But yeah, I mean, it's like whether it is scenes from all the times when they do this whole spaceship thing, and you go through all this thing with all these people making random innuendos, and it just all that intercut and editing is seamless, and Mike Myers as both the protagonist and the antagonist just works. But yeah, Caleb, what do you say about the Austin Powers trilogy?
Yeah, sorry, no. The first one's really funny, but no, you don't get it based off of the second and third. There are some, I guess, funny moments in 2 and 3, but no, baby, no.
No.
Cody,
baby, no.
I'm dead sexy.
That's a good line too.
Hey, Boatman, why don't you zip it real good? Okay. I can't say no to this trilogy for the simple fact is this grew up like going into like middle school into high school, and I found this to be the funniest thing ever. I probably still would watch them all today. Like, even Goldmember I find so hilarious. Like, how about no, you crazy Dutch bastard? Like, those lines in there will always hit a note for me. And I just want to watch a watch along with Malcolm watching Austin Powers because I
Nice.
feel like you don't see him bust up too much, and this might do it. So yes, it has to go yes, just because the younger me says hell yes.
Yeah. Ryan, what do you say about Austin Powers?
As well as someone who grew up with this franchise, like Cody was saying, there are some good quotable lines in these films. They're funny, they're entertaining to watch. However, the third one to me is just nowhere near as good as the first two. The first two are so good, and then when the third one came out and it went in these weird directions, and then Beyonce's in there, and I'm like, what is this? I don't know what's going on. Like, there's some good lines in there, but I'm like, I don't know why she just doesn't fit in this movie. There's something not right here. So, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to say no. The third one, I have to at least get some enjoyment out of all three movies in a respective trilogy, and I don't get much, if anything, out of the third one. I mean, I barely get any enjoyment. So, first two are great. Third one, not so much. So, unfortunately, as much as I had the pleasure of meeting Robert Wagner, who portrayed number two in this franchise, Robert, if you're watching this, I apologize, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to say no to Austin Powers. As much fun as I have watching the first two, and Elizabeth Hurley, and I believe the other one is Heather Graham, I believe was in the second one.
Yeah.
Beautiful love interests. They do a good job, especially Elizabeth Hurley, but it's going to have to be a no.
Groovy, baby.
Ryan, you don't have to apologize to Robert Wagner because really, who does number two work for?
Nice. Nice.
When a problem comes along, you must
Jesus Christ, man, what you eat?
I know. I can quote those first two movies all day.
Exactly.
Anyway, Ryan, you can probably quote a lot of things all day, but
yes, I can. Good
but
sir.
what you need
Yes,
to
I can.
When the problem comes
It's
along, yes, you
not you, Phoenix Pig.
It's your pick.
Whose pick?
Whose pick?
Your pick, Ryan.
Oh, jeez. I'm like, man, I didn't
Dutch
hear you say my name, or if I did, I must have missed.
Yeah,
it.
I didn't hear you say Ryan either.
Well, that was my transition when I said, Ryan, you could quote a lot of things all day.
Oh, okay.
What
Well, I
you
didn't get the
expect?
hint, man. I didn't get the hint, Malcolm. You got to be a little bit more, I don't know, subtle than that. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Okay, we brought up a lot of superheroes. We brought up a lot of we brought a little bit of sci-fi time travel adventures here and there. But let's go in a completely different direction. Let's go out west, to the Old West, with a filmmaker by the name of Sergio Leone and a man by the name of Clint Eastwood, who wore a hat and a poncho and knew how to deliver justice his way, and he calls himself the Man with No Name, which consists of a fistful of dollars for a few dollars more, and one of the most iconic westerns ever made, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Let's go with the Man with the No Name trilogy and give Clint Eastwood his due, because of the great acting and the great score. I mean, come on, Ennio Morricone, he killed it with that.
Caleb, what do you say about the Man with No Name?
There are two kinds of people in this world. Those who talk and... No, those who hold the gun and the... Ryan, help me out here. You're the quote.
All right, let me put my hat on. There are two kinds of people in this world. Those with loaded guns and those that dig.
That's it.
That's
it. Thank you, Ryan.
You are quite welcome.
From my blunder. I love all three of these movies. I think Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is clearly the best, but I think there's a lot of good stuff in Fistful of Dollars, and there's a whole lot of stuff in For a Few Dollars More.
Yes.
I think For a Few Dollars More is super underrated. I really like that movie. But yeah, all three of those movies are really great. They're classic. Like you said, Ryan, Ennio Morricone's score is great. Lee Van Cleef in the two movies that he's in is amazing, and both of them playing very different characters in both of them. And then Clint Eastwood does his thing the whole time. So yeah, it's a no. I mean, it's a yes. Excuse me. It's a yes for the Man with No Name. That's where I got confused because of No Name.
Cody, what do you say about the Man with No Name?
Two little blunders there.
This is awkward. I've seen For a Few Dollars More. I've seen a Good, Bad, and the Ugly. I've not seen a Fistful of Dollars.
Dude.
So, because you said no to The Godfather, I say no to this.
No.
Oh, please. Give me a break. Give me a break. Malcolm, help us out here. Come on.
I'm probably going to be kicked out of Full Metal because I just said no to The Good, Bad, and the Ugly for Jeremy, but it's a no-go. He doesn't like Armageddon.
Unfortunately, I've only seen the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So,
Oh my god.
Yeah. So we've all been burnt by the never seen them curse, but
Jeez.
I'm
Caleb-
about to get hit by it like a bus.
I know, man. A
But
piece of my
Caleb, what is
soul
the
just died.
trilogy you're going to bring up.
So
You
yep,
say
my go.
no to
Okay,
the
yep.
Western
Here's
trilogy.
me getting hit by the "you haven't all seen it" curse. But
Yep.
I am going to try to appeal to your human nature and kindness here. So I'm appealing to Ryan and Malcolm, is what I mean by that. Just kidding, Cody. But seriously, okay. We have a lot of trilogies. We have a lot of trilogies on here that are big, kind of epic, big blockbusters. We've got those. We've got stuff like Lord of the Rings, Back to the Future, and all that. What we don't have is a sensitive, dramatic series. It's just human connection, and that's what it's all about. I'm going with Richard Linklater's The Before trilogy. This is, in my opinion, the greatest trilogy of all time because all three of these movies are amazing. There is not a misstep in any of them. That's why if you ask people who have seen these movies, they'll all tell you one of them is their favorite. Like a different one. Like there's not one that someone will say, oh, no, like everyone's going to pick a different favorite. Because that's the thing is there are three movies and they're all different, but they're all great. The first one, Before Sunrise, you've got kind of the story of this new kind of relationship where they have these interesting discussions and it ends on kind of a bittersweet note. The second one, you've got kind of this look back on what happened that first day and all those different things and changes in kind of the middle of your life. And then the third one, you've got the story of these people who have been together and really now they're kind of not sure if it's the end for them. And you've got this three kind of connected stories. And I know that it might be that you guys probably haven't seen any of them, but lie. Just lie. Because we're going to have all these big blockbusters and there are going to be movies on there that you'll say, well, I don't like this movie, but because the other two are good, I'll give it. We want all good movies on our list here. So please, give love a chance and say yes to the Before trilogy. Steps off soapbox.
Cody, have you seen the Before trilogy? And what are you going to say to it?
I was out before he started talking, so that's going to be the one to make it not a trilogy. Before you started talking, no. I've seen one of these films, and it was okay. It never just made me jump out and want to see the rest. So sorry, I would have to give it a no vote. And now that you voted for it, it's an absolute no.
Ryan, what do you say about the Before trilogy?
I like Richard Linklater as a filmmaker, but I have not seen his trilogy, so it's going to have to be a no.
You could have lied, Ryan.
I can't. I'm not that. I can't lie to the millions of people watching this show. I need to be honest and I need to be professional and respectful at the same time. So I can't lie. Sorry, I haven't seen it yet, but it's on my list.
I'm
it's
just
on my list.
messing with you. You should watch it.
A little
It is on my
behind.
list because I like Linklater a lot. I like Richard Linklater a lot.
Yeah. A little bit of behind the scenes when I made the group chat for today. The first thing Caleb said was everyone has to watch the Before trilogy before. Sadly,
I got caught up with schoolwork.
Sadly, I tried to find it. It's not streaming anywhere on Netflix for me. So yeah, and I honestly can't lie to something I've never seen. So
Yeah.
I'm just messing. I didn't actually expect you guys to lie.
But yeah.
Gotta be honest.
But I mean,
No, I would.
but I mean, as I said, it's like even if it doesn't make the list, you still get it. You still got to talk.
Yes,
about it.
I at least
Yes.
got to mention it, and I
Yeah.
love those 3 movies.
But anyway, Cody, it's back to you.
Oh gosh, it's my turn already. What the world? Okay. Okay. How many are on the list right now?
6.
Oh, we have
Okay,
6.
perfect.
Oh, so we're halfway home. All right.
This one trilogy took me by surprise. Didn't see it coming. But once I saw it, I couldn't get enough of it, and I rushed out to see the rest opening night. And that's the new Planet of the Apes. I think what they do with these movies are insane. Rise, I remember sitting in the theater being so captivated by watching it, and then when Caesar stood up and screams, "No!" I was just like, "Whoa, what did I just watch?" And then Dawn gets better, and War maybe not the movie that people wanted, but after rewatch, it's kind of a perfect movie to end it. Maybe not the right title, but overall, it was a beautiful way to end that trilogy. And as a person that's never been a big fan of Planet of the Apes, any of them before, this opened my eyes to a new one, and I think they get better the way you look at them. I think War can be better than Dawn if you don't expect like a full out monkey war, which I never expected. But people wanted like them on tanks. It was just never my thing. So, yeah, I would do the Planet of the Apes trilogy.
Caleb, what do you say about the Apes on Horses trilogy?
You're not lying.
I'm gonna have to give it a no, just simply on the premise because you guys got to give a no because you guys haven't seen Before trilogy. Now I give it a no because I haven't seen War for the Planet of the Apes. I've seen Dawn, I've seen Rise. I never got around to seeing War.
I'm disgusted.
Yeah.
Well, you guys should see the Before trilogy because they're better.
I will eventually.
Eventually's not good enough, Ryan.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Ryan, what do you say about the Apes on Horses trilogy?
Apes on horses, says Christian Harloff and Marcellus like to chant a lot. All right, as someone who actually has seen all 3 of these movies, has done their research, and War for the Planet of the Apes was on my top 10 of the year. I think it was like in the top 2 of the year that it came out. War for the Planet of the Apes, I should say. I love that 3rd movie so much. And each installment just got better and better. You know, the second one and the third one, of course. I need to sit down and do a rewatch of all 3 of them because I've only seen War for the Planet of the Apes a couple times. Dawn I haven't seen since it first came out. Rise I haven't seen since it first came out, I don't think. But even so, War for the Planet of the Apes is one of the best like endings to a franchise I've ever seen. So for that alone, I would say yes. And plus, Andy Serkis as Caesar is just what he does with that character and the way that character is put together by all the special effects people and the people who do the motion capture, all the hard work that crew put into making that become a reality. Because I don't see CGI or special effects. I see actual apes that are talking and going to battle and doing all the stuff that they do on screen. So my hat's off to Matt Reeves, and I believe it was Rupert Wyatt who did the first one, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, Apes is a yes for me. Apes is a yes.
Yeah, like it's definitely a yes for me as well. I really love this this trilogy, and it just goes to show, like, because there's been a lot of people campaigning that Andy Serkis should have been nominated for an Oscar as well as Caesar, but as of yet, they just don't want to recognise voice acting as the main acting roles, which I kind of understand, but in saying it does suck at times as well, especially with that one because, like, Andy Serkis as well is so great as the ape, like, but yet, like, and it is he's still acting in it, and he's as the ape as well. So yeah, but Apes on Horses, whatever they want to call the trilogy, but makes it.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Anyway, it's back to me.
Mhm.
What am I going to go with? I'm going to try this, see what happens. But
Oh gosh.
I'm gonna go for Narnia. This is one that Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is a great movie. I even like Prince Caspian. Like Voyage of the Dawn Treader, I get it kind of did fall off at that point, but I do think it's still three good movies, and like the acting of the Pevensey children,
Mhm.
like James McAvoy's Mr. Tumnus and all that. It's all good, and like Tilda Swinton is the White Witch
Mhm.
is great, and this is one that I really do love. I mean, I get that not everyone loved Prince Caspian and Voyage of the Dawn Treader, so if it doesn't make it on, I'm not going to be too heartbroken about it, but I do think it deserves to be talked about. Caleb, what do you say about Narnia?
As the only one here who's young enough to actually be like nostalgic for those movies, because they came out when I was like 6 and 8. Actually, no, 5 and 8. And then when did Voyage come out? Was that 2011?
2020 was it 2014, Malcolm? The last
No,
one,
no, it was 2010 or 2011.
2012 maybe.
I think it was 2010 or 2011. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I was like 10 or 11 at the time. And yeah, I loved all these movies as a kid, but I don't think they quite hold up. I think the first one is the only one that really holds up. The second one's all right. Third one does not hold up at all, but I don't really love any of them, so I have to give it a no.
Cody, what do you say about Narnia?
So, I'm not gonna bash you, Malcolm, but I think the education system in New Zealand's different than America because the word "great" doesn't mean the same in my world as it does in yours. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I wasn't sure. I didn't even know the other two came out after the first one. I had no desire to see after the first one. And as a person that was forced to read the book in school, then watching the movie, no. Gosh, no. Hell no. I am not a fan of that first one at all. We'll never probably rewatch it. If I lose on a trivia match because of it, fine. I will never retain anything from that. So, as an absolute no, not because I haven't seen it, because they shouldn't have done it to begin with. They should have just stopped. So, no.
Ryan, your vote wouldn't have mattered, but what would you have said about Narnia?
Yeah, you're right. My vote wouldn't have meant squat. But I've seen all three. I was there in the theater to see all three of them, especially the first one, because that first trailer for that first film is so hyped up, man. They hyped up that movie so well. Yeah, I rewatched all three of these, and the second and third, as much as I liked all three of them, the first time I saw them on a rewatch, I was like, these films aren't as happy-go-lucky and not as good as I remember. But the first one is always going to be awesome, like really, really good. I have it on Blu-ray. Love that movie. Will always love it. It's one of my favorite fantasy movies. But I also would have said no because I need to have some love for all three in a certain way. And unfortunately, it's just the first one for me is the only one that holds up. The other two, not so much. But Malcolm, I appreciate you pitching that because it's something that's it could be entertaining. It could be entertaining when you watch it for the first time. So I respect
garbage.
It. It's not garbage. I don't think it's garbage at all. It's just the first one is the best out of the three.
Anyway, Wyatt, it's back to you. What trilogy are you going to bring up?
I am disappointed that my last one didn't make it through. That's very disappointing. However, there is one on here. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if it counts, so I'm going to save that for later. So I'll go with this one.
Good start.
It's one of those trilogies I wasn't sure about. But anyway, this is a different one. I believe it came out in the 90s. It's great. All that generation of kids who grew up on this franchise still love it to this day. I do. I think the theme that they play for this group of kids is fantastic. I think he's one of the best coaches we've ever seen with Bombay. So I'm going to go with the Mighty Ducks trilogy Got to go with Mighty Ducks trilogy because all three of them are so much fun to watch. They're very entertaining. All those actors, child actors, fun to watch. So got to go with the Mighty Ducks, man. I enjoy all three of them. So I'm gonna throw a Hail Mary and go for the Mighty Ducks trilogy. And Cody's obviously gonna say no. We already know that.
Caleb, what do you say about the Mighty Ducks? I think I know what you're going to say.
Cody thinks I'm crazy.
You've all gotten old. That's okay. But you don't need to act like your childhood was the most perfect thing. Bad things happened. That was okay. I'm not going to stand here and say that, like, Dog with a Blog, the Disney Channel show, is one of the greatest things of all time. But it happened when I was like 10 and I watched it. I'm not going to deny that. But it was something that I watched. I'm not going to deny that I liked the movie Alvin and the Chipmunks. They made 3 of those movies.
Oof.
I'm not going to put that on the list. It's the same thing. No to the Mighty Ducks, except that you've gotten older and be okay with it.
It's a fun, entertaining trilogy, but you could have just said
no.
Okay.
It isn't.
Jeez. Yes, it is, you idiot. You're out of your freaking mind if you don't think it's fun or entertaining.
Actually, I think.
No, I haven't.
Oh, well, then you can't. Then who are you to talk?
I'm just joking around.
I think Alvin and the Chipmunks has somehow gotten more than 3 movies.
Yeah, there's
Yeah, it's
actually
done like
4,
5.
but I don't care.
Cody, what do you say about the Mighty Ducks?
Flying V, Slapshot, the Bash Brothers, bro. You can say what you want. I get it. It is nostalgia, but that nostalgia tastes pretty good on a rewatch. Give me Gordon Bombay anytime coaching the Ducks because, quack, quack, quack. Oh, fantastic! Hands down. This is going to be one of my fun picks, but I knew it wouldn't have a shot because Boatman's here, and he already said in one of our chats that he's never seen it. But since Ryan brought it up, I'll give it a yes. I don't think Malcolm's going to give it a yes, but I hope so.
I actually have seen it since I said it in the chat that I hadn't. But
Oh, come on.
I'm not a big fan of it.
Oh, come on.
I'm going to say no.
You're out of your mind.
Thank you, Malcolm, for being
Out of
sane.
your mind.
I get told that I'm out of my mind all the time, and I'm used to it by now. So
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
But anyway, Caleb, it's back to you.
I'm going with a trilogy that, yes, I do have some nostalgia for, but removing the nostalgia is still an amazing trilogy. I'm not sure if all of you guys have seen the third one, but this is an amazing trilogy, just looking at it without the nostalgia goggles. And I really only have nostalgia for the first one, and it's still great. How to Train Yo Dragon. The third one just came out, so maybe Malcolm and Ryan haven't seen it, but you should, and it's great. And all 3 of these movies are amazing. The second one is the best, but all 3 of them are great.
Cody, what do you say about How to Train Your Dragon?
Oh, absolutely. I watched it last night, and I walked out of there, and if it wasn't like the last showing at the theater, I would have went back in and bought another ticket and sat down and watched it again. I cried at the end of this trilogy, which I didn't think would be possible, but they draw the emotion out of you that's like, and it feels natural. Normal, they try to do cheese pops to make you cry, but you honestly felt what the characters were going through. I think this is one, I like the first one better than the second one, and I still like the first one probably better than the third one. But to even have the comparison that they're that close is really good. And I can't wait to own the third one. I can't wait to watch it again because there were moments in there that I didn't think an animated movie could do. And I will say this right now on camera. Of animated movies, possibly the best villain in an animated movie from that one because it was insane. Go see it
The
if you
villain
haven't seen
was
it.
so good.
So good.
F. Murray
So go see it
Abraham
if you haven't
voices
seen
the
it.
villain.
And if it gets no voted, it's all right. I'm just glad we got to talk about it. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, it's back down to you, Ryan, for your pick. And if you haven't seen the food one, you can judge on the first two too, just because the food one is still pretty new. So,
yeah, I haven't seen any of these, so it would have been a no. I would say no. I would say no. I haven't seen any dragon movies at all.
Wow. Okay, that's fair.
Never.
You should.
Yep.
You should. I think you'll.
well, I mean, I've only seen the first one. I saw the first one for the first time this year.
Oh,
I haven't got
jeez.
around to the second one, so I can't say yes to it. Oh, I love the first one. Like,
Okay, there you go.
I do plan on seeing the second one and eventually the third one. I just don't know when I'll be able to see it because they didn't want to put both the first two on New Zealand Netflix. They decided to put the first one on, but yet not for the second one. So I blame New Zealand Netflix for me not seeing the second one. So anyway, Cody, it's back to you for your next nomination.
Oofa. Okay. Men in Black. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh God.
I'm gonna do one that I actually. Some people may agree, some people might not. But I'm gonna do the Avengers. Avengers 1, Avengers 2, and Infinity War. Regardless of what you say about the second one, it's still a lot of fun for me. I have a blast with them, and that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. I still am talking about this movie today. I understand if it's like too many comic books for somebody, or they don't like where we're going on this list, but I just really enjoy them. I will still remember watching the Avengers in theaters, and it could be also be nostalgic because people say it's not that great and it's overrated and blah blah blah. But the first time Iron Man tells Thor, does Mother know you weareth her drapes? I laughed out loud. So yeah, I would say this is my next nomination.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you can have too much comic books really, because a lot of great trilogies are comic book based anyway. But anyway, Caleb, what do you say to the Avengers?
I'm giving the Avengers a yes. I think all three of the movies in the trilogy are great. Yeah, I think, this Age of Ultron's weak, but I think there are some good things about it that I do like. So overall, I do like that movie. I think Avengers and Avengers Infinity War are two of the best superhero movies ever made. So yeah, I got to give Avengers a yes.
Ryan, what do you say about the Avengers?
Yeah, just piggybacking off what Caleb said. Yeah, the first one and the third are two of the best superhero/comic movies ever made in the history of mankind. The second one is a hot piece of garbage. It's one of the worst MCU films ever made, and it's one of my least favorite. It's one of my least favorite MCU films made in the history of mankind. But the first and the third definitely outweigh the total negative that the second one is. So I definitely would have said yes. First one still holds up to this day, 6-7 years later, and Infinity War by far is one of the absolute best comic book films we've ever seen, and Thanos is one of the best villains we've ever had on the big screen going up against heroes, and that snap, just incredible.
I have a question. Would you watch Avengers Age of Ultron or BVS?
Oh, Batman v Superman, hands down.
And there we go, folks. It is not garbage. The movie you would watch instead is garbage, and we can continue.
Whatever, that's just your opinion.
I hate to agree with Cody, but he's right.
Doesn't matter. It's just an opinion.
But yeah, I mean, even though it's going to be on the list anyway, I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to bring up a comment in the chat from the cool guy. The cool guy would have given Avengers a no. Because he says the first is average and gets worse every time you watch it. Age of Ultron is forgettable, and Infinity War isn't even the best MCU movie or 2018. So
I disagree with you. So
I disagree with that one.
Yeah, you can watch Black Panther somewhere else, but no, thank you.
Yeah, seriously,
it's Lion King without songs.
Yeah, Infinity War is way better than Black Panther. Hot take 365.
But anyway, Avengers does make the list. It's back to me. Yeah, Cody brought up the Avengers. It's back to me. I'm going to
How many we got
go.
now?
Are we at 9?
No, we're at 8.
Oh, it's 8. Okay, I was 1 off. Okay.
But yeah, I'm going to go for a Hail Mary pick myself.
Oh.
I'm going to go for a good rom-com trilogy that I really like. And I'm going to go for Bridget Jones. I do enjoy Bridget Jones' Diary, and I actually do enjoy Edge Reason as well. And the third one isn't as bad as people want to make it out. I love a lot of romantic comedies. I'm not afraid to admit it, and Bridget Jones is probably one of my favorite trilogies in the rom-com genre. Because I mean, you've got Hugh Grant, you've got Colin Firth, you've got Renee Zellweger. All the acting and performance is great, and like so many, like it's one of those ones for which there's so many great British actors throughout the movie that pop up. Because you've got Moaning Myrtle from Harry Potter appears in the movies as well. But anyway, with that, I'm seeing all the faces there, so I'm kind of scared it's going to get no down. But Caleb, what do you say about Bridget Jones?
No, I haven't seen these movies. I don't really have plans to. So, no.
Cody, what do you say about Bridget Jones?
He can't control himself.
I'm sorry. I respect the pick. Like, I love romantic comedies just as much, but I've never watched Bridget Jones' Diaries. I'm gonna be honest with you. And I remember when I worked at the theater, and they said the third one's coming out, and I said they made 2 other ones of these. When the hell was that at? I think Renee Zellweger is a really good actress. I really do, and I bet she kills it in these movies. But it's never like I'm so behind. There's so many movies I haven't seen. I don't think at any time soon I'm going to pop in Bridget Jones's. But I respect you, Malcolm, for bringing it up. I really do.
Ryan, what do you say about what would you have said about Bridget Jones?
It would have been a no for me because I've never seen any of these movies, and quite frankly, I really don't have much of a desire to ever watch them, period. So, sorry, I would have said no. But hey, every franchise and every movie in some way, shape, or form has their own fan base. There is a fan of whatever film is out there. So, my hat's off to you, Malcolm. You pitched it, but didn't work for you.
Anyway, it's back to you, Ryan.
Can you read off the ones we have on the list so I can write them down?
Yep. So we've got Back to the Future, Toy Story, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, The Dark Knight, Lord of the Rings, X-Men Beginnings, Apes on Horses, and The Avengers.
Planet of
8. Okay. 4 more spots.
What were the last few before Planet of the Apes? Like the last 2 or 3?
Before Planet of the Apes?
Yeah.
X-Men
X-Men Beginnings, Lord of the Rings, and The Dark Knight.
All right, and the Avengers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. All right.
And I believe it's Ryan's go.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Mighty Ducks didn't make it on there?
Mighty Ducks didn't make it on.
You disrespectful human beings.
I know. Coach Bombay and his Ducks. It's going to irk me for a while.
I think it's the first time me and Ryan have ever agreed.
Yeah. One of the very few times I think we're ever going to agree on anything.
Everything.
Exactly. By the way, Malcolm, did you get the message I sent you about asking if a potential trilogy is worthy or not? Sorry. Don't mean to do this midstream, but...
I like the style.
Try it.
Okay,
I don't know much about that series to know if there's been more. So
okay, all right, I'll pitch it then. All right, it's probably going to be another one of those crazy picks. Maybe another Hail Mary. We'll see. They've done this. They've rebooted it a couple of times. It didn't work out because there's only the original, and that is going to be the 4 creatures with names of famous artists and a sewer rat that's training him in the ways of the ninja. I know nostalgia may be clouding the brain today. I don't care because I love this trilogy no matter what. I know the third one gets a lot of hate, and I get it. but I still enjoy all three of them for different reasons. So I'm going to go with the original Ninja Turtles trilogy of the 90s. I'm going to go with that one. The first one, then you got second one, Secret of the Ooze, and then there's Teenage Ninja Turtles 3. Sometimes they like to subtitle it as Turtles in Time. Call it what you will. It is a trilogy. It did happen. It did come out. I enjoyed all three of them no matter what people say. Let's go with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trilogy of the 90s. What say you?
I mean, I'll just kick it off. So I've never seen that. So.
Oh, you out of your mind, Malcolm. You're out of your mind.
Caleb, what do you say about the original Turtle trilogy?
He's never seen
To
it.
paraphrase the words of Vanilla Ice, no ninja, no ninja, no, no ninja, no ninja, no. No.
Cody, what would you have said?
My multiplex music for this year might be Knock Knock, You're About to Get Shell Shocked, but hell no, these movies are bad.
What?
The first one's great. I love the first one, and the second one has fun. That third one, oofa. So yeah, it has to be a no. And yes, your nostalgic goggles are fully on. As somebody is about the probably same age as you, I will guarantee it. It's yeah. Leave it in the 90s. Also, don't go watch Space Jam ever again either, because that ruins everything. Just let everybody know.
It was a Hail Mary, Malcolm. I tried.
Caleb, it's back to you. What is your next nomination?
All right. Potentially, this could be my last pick.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give... I wouldn't call it a Hail Mary, but it's definitely not a deadlock. I'm going with one of my favorite underrated movie trilogies, because I think the sequels are really underrated. The Ocean's 11 series. I like all three of those movies. I think the first one is legitimately one of the greatest heist movies ever made. It's super fun. I love that movie to pieces. The second one people don't really like. I can see why people don't like it, but I have fun with it. I think there's some really fun stuff in there with like Julia Roberts pretending to be Julia Roberts. I think that's a whole lot of fun. And yeah, I like the second one for what it is. And the third one is really great. I really, really like the third one. It's different because instead of like trying to steal a big amount of money, they're like basically trying to Home Alone Al Pacino. That's what that movie is, them playing like little pranks and doing little things like that. And it's a whole lot of fun. I love all three. Maybe I don't love the second one, but I at least like all three of these movies. They're a whole lot of fun. I like all three of the Ocean's movies.
Cody, what do you say about the Ocean's trilogy?
Caleb took my next nomination. This will be my next nomination. I love the Ocean's movies. I think the Ocean's 12 gets a bad rap because it takes away from the casino kind of heist, which is what the pretty much trilogy is known for. And it's like the art dealer and blah, blah, blah. But I still have a lot of fun with 12. It's just nowhere near 11 or 13 for me. I think 13 is actually one of the best ones of it, too, because of what they add. You get Pacino. He's a lunatic. And he doesn't say hoo-ha once, which I really wish he did. But, yeah, it's by far... they're always on. I will always watch them at least once a year because I think the trilogy is that strong. So yeah.
Ryan, what do you say to the Ocean's trilogy?
Yeah, I enjoyed all three of them for whatever, for different reasons. I definitely like the first one. I like the third one, Ocean's 13, more than actually the other two. At one point I did. But I haven't seen these movies in a long time, so I need to sit down and rewatch all three of them because I like a good heist movie. I like, fun heist movies, and the cast is great. Like, the cast led by George Clooney is smooth as Danny Ocean. Like, he's so good. He's so good. But there's a few, let's see. Yeah, there's a few other series that I enjoy just a bit more than this one. So for me, unfortunately, I'm going to have to give Ocean's trilogy a no.
That's a yes for me. It's as simple as that. Like I love the Ocean's trilogies. Like I may not be able to pick out all the actors that are in every single installment of the trilogy. And I mean, you're going to get the people who will go, but Ocean's 8 happened. We discussed this in the chat, and like I counted the trilogy because Ocean's 8 is kind of loosely connected. It's not like
very loosely,
but it's not like a slap in your face, definite connection.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's making the list, and you can hate on it in the comments. So
yeah, I need to rewatch that trilogy though because I do like good heist movies.
Anyway, Cody, it's back to you.
Oh gosh, I don't want to do this anymore. No, I'm just kidding. You stole mine, and now I have to go. We're running out of ground, guys. Really, we shouldn't have said no to some of these. So I'm going to go on a limb. Bear with me. Let's take a ride. Let's see if y'all like the same travel plans. I am a sucker for this trilogy. It's not all good, but it's a lot of fun. And I'm doing the Silence of the Lambs trilogy with Red Dragon and Hannibal. I find them very entertaining. Yes, it's not as good as Silence of the Lambs. I understand 100%. But it's pretty fun. So I would have to go there. I'm going that way.
Caleb, what do you say about the Silence of the Lambs trilogy?
I have not seen Red Dragon or Hannibal. I've only seen Silence of the Lambs, so I cannot comment.
This is gonna be long.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say my name, Malcolm?
I did.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, I'm with Cody on this one, or excuse me, Caleb on this one. I've only seen the first one, haven't seen the other two, so sorry, it's a no. I know. I'm a little behind.
To complete the trifecta, I've only seen Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, we've only seen Silence of the Lambs because it's so well known.
I have seen sort of bits and pieces of the sequels, but not enough to be able to form an opinion on it.
What did you see, Clarice? What did you see?
It's back to me, and I'm going to go with one I'm pretty sure was joked about a few times, but I'm going to go with Men in Black. Say what you want about Free. I enjoy this movie. This is another one which it's essentially not because it's with Men in Black International. I don't know. We don't really know sort of where it's going with the sequel, with how much tied it will be into this trilogy. But I do really love Men in Black, and like Will Smith as Agent J and Tommy Lee Jones, like their banter back and forth with each other, just perfect. And I mean, I actually do enjoy Free. It gets a lot of a bad rap, but it's still an entertaining movie, and I do think the Men in Black trilogy does belong on this list. Caleb, what do you say about Men in Black?
I'm debating here. You know, we have 4 spots left.
Yes.
Jeez.
You know, because we have such. We're kind of running out of good trilogies at this point.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to give a yes. I'm going to give a yes to the Men in Black because the first one is great. The first one is like one of the, if not the best buddy cop movie ever. I love Men in Black, the first one. I think that's legitimately one of the greatest like buddy cop. But it's also like a sci-fi thing, and Will Smith is amazing in that, and Tommy Lee Jones is great. I love that movie. It's really fun. I'm not going to talk about Men in Black 2. Men in Black 3, however, gets a bad rap because Men in Black 3, I think there's some really good stuff in that. I think Josh Brolin, really great in that movie. Josh Brolin's really good as a young Tommy Lee Jones, and his back and forth with Will is really great. And Michael Stuhlbarg's pretty good in that movie. So, yeah, I'm giving a yes to Men in Black.
Cody, what do you say about Men in Black?
Like, if we don't start saying yes to some things, like, I wish I would have done Fistful of Dollars now just because we're going to get flipping The Mummy trilogy on here at some point. So I'm gonna give it a yes because I at least like number 1 and number 3 because 3 I actually do enjoy. I need to stop saying things out loud because then people start bringing them up. But I will nominate it. Yeah, I will say yes.
I mean, I was going to bring it up eventually anyway. But anyway, Ryan, what would you have said?
Yeah. For me, there's only one Men in Black movie. The other two never happened because I saw Men in Black 2 and I was like, what is this? I'm not sure. It's not that good. And then I heard not so good things about the third one because the second one left a sour taste in my mouth. I was like, nah, this just doesn't work. So I really don't have any desire to watch the third one. So for me, there's only one Men in Black movie. So I can't get on this wagon. So unfortunately, I would say no for Men in Black.
But anyway, Ryan, it's back to you. What trilogy are you going to bring up?
Oh, God. All right. You know what? It hasn't been brought up yet, and I don't think this is going to be necessarily all that much of a Hail Mary, but who knows? Maybe it will. I don't think it will because we're running out of options here. Long before there was James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender, there was Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, and they did a great job as these characters, and that would be the first X-Men trilogy that consists of X-Men, X2, say what you will about X3, The Last Stand. I really like that movie. I like the trilogy as a whole overall. I don't care how much hate the third one gets. The whole Dark Phoenix and how they handled that storyline didn't bother me as much as it bothered everyone else. I'm not like that picky about sticking from a comic book storyline into a movie because movies and comic books, guys, are two different mediums. Okay? Get that through your head sometimes. But yeah, X-Men trilogy, I really like it. It was great to see the animated series of the 90s from Fox Kids brought to the big screen, directed by, I know he's in a lot of hot water right now for reasons, but Bryan Singer did a really good job with that trilogy, with the first two. Say what you will about Brent Ratner, they're all in hot water too. But I still enjoy this trilogy. I got it on Blu-ray. I'll watch all three of them anytime, any place, anytime, anywhere. The first two for me are all three of them are just really, really good. The first one for me holds a special place in my heart. So let's do it. Let's go back and go with some more X-Men.
Caleb, what do you say about the first X-Men trilogy?
Yeah, I think this is better than the beginning trilogy. I'm just gonna say that. I think the first one's a whole lot of fun. I think X2 is one of the best comic book movies of all time. And I think X-Men The Last Stand, I like that movie. I do. I think it's a fun movie. I think it has a lot of problems, but I think there's some legitimately great things in it. Kelsey Grammer as Beast, legitimately great. The storyline with the mutant cure, legitimately interesting and intriguing. I like that stuff. So, yeah, and you've still got all the actors in there doing their best. It's not like Apocalypse where the actors just phone it in. Cough, cough, Jennifer Lawrence. Yeah. But yeah, I think I'm giving a yes to the X-Men trilogy.
Cody, what do you say about the OG?
Do you know what happens to a toad when it gets struck by lightning? Same thing that happens to everything else. Okay, so little known fact. I'm an X-Men apologist. I don't like Last Stand. I still can watch Last Stand and be okay with it. Yeah. The problems I have with the original trilogy is they did something that is a big no-no in X-Men movies. They made them solo. This is the Wolverine story going through time, and these are the side characters that travel along with him. The First Class and the other one is Magneto and McAvoy, like the whole group, Xavier, all of them have parts with it, and they all battle back and forth. And they're all intermingled. But I will not. My favorite X-Men of all time is Beast, and Kelsey Grammer is the closest ripped from the animated series and thrown onto the big screen by far. He's a politician, and he's fantastic. That Cure is bullshit, and I don't like that at all, and I hate everything about that. But still has one of my favorite quotes in any comic books ever. You have too much iron in your blood. And then when he starts whipping the metal around and tearing everything apart, that's Magneto. Magneto is my third favorite X-Men of all time, hands down. And he is brutal. and Ian McKellen does the perfect job of playing him. Fassbender is equal, 100% equal with him on that. So I give it a yes because one, like I said, we are running out of spots. But two, X-Men Last Stand is terrible. Don't let it fool you. You were young, Caleb. You were young. It's okay to admit it. You didn't see the problems. Go back and watch
a couple
it.
of years ago.
You have problems. You have problems. Magneto would have never built a place, would have had a camp in the forest. It makes no sense. Go ahead.
But, yeah, I mean, I actually would have said no to the OG X-Men. Not because I don't like them. I do think they're good, and I mean I'm with Caleb. I do like The Last Stand, so I mean, it's one of those ones like I'm looking at the list. There's still a few that haven't been brought up yet, which I kind of feel should be up here. But yeah, that's why I would have said no to it. More for strategy. We've got one spot left. Caleb, can you fill in that last spot?
Just say
Oh, man, okay.
Say it.
So I'm between two. There's one that's like more obvious. And you know what? It's a true trilogy rather than my other one. So I am going to bring in the one that's actually... Or I don't... Oh.
It's not easy.
Yeah, I'm between two, and I like both of these, but you know what? I don't care. I like ice cream. Sue me. The Cornetto trilogy. Simon Pegg, Nick Frost. Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, The World's End. Are they necessarily connective trilogy? No, but Malcolm said they were allowed, so that they count, and these are all three of the best comedies ever made. And I love all three of them. They have that connective tissue, even though it's not necessarily plot-based connective tissue. They all do feel like they are kind of in that same kind of tone and all that. So they do feel like a true trilogy. Cornetto trilogy. And then I'm guessing somebody will bring up the other one I was going to say if this is a no, so I'm okay with that.
Cody, do you like ice cream? What do you say to the Cornetto trilogy?
That's what I was telling him to do. Just say it, because if he didn't say it, I was going to say it. I'm not the biggest fan of all the movies. I love Shaun of the Dead. I think Shaun of the Dead is one of the best movies in that, like, mixing horror and comedy. I think it's one of the best comedy horror movies ever made. Hot Fuzz I enjoy. At World's End I didn't really enjoy that much. But at the end of the day, I don't know what you were going to bring up. The only one that I could see that you're not bringing up is if you wanted the Captain America.
That's the other one.
Okay. But at the end of the day, I'm okay with ending it right here because we have superheroes. Let's let Edgar Wright have his place. So, yeah, I get yes.
Brian, what do you say to the Cornetto trilogy?
I've never seen any of them, so I would have said no.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone to say they've not seen one of this trilogy, but
never seen any of them.
Dude, watch them; they're great.
But anyway, it's down to me, and I'm saying yes because
you don't want to be on the air any longer. You want to wrap this up?
Well, no, because I do think they belong on the list, and we don't have a comedy trilogy at all on here. Actually, because I mean, I tried off the pound, and that was shot down.
You could make an argument for Oceans being a comedy, with in quotes.
Yeah, I mean, Oceans is probably the closest, but
they're more heist movies than anything else.
Yeah.
But anyway, like that being said, the Cornetto trilogy do make the list. And
okay.
Yeah, so that rounds up our denomination process. And to clarify, we've got Back to the Future, Toy Story, Spider-Man, The Dark Knight, Lord of the Rings, X-Men Beginnings, Apes on Horses, Avengers, Ocean's Trilogy, Men in Black, the original X-Men, and the Cornetto trilogy.
What am I missing? I'm missing one.
Hold on a minute.
6.
Avengers, Dark Knight, X-Men Beginning, Lord of the Rings, Planet of the Apes, Toy Story, Back to the Future, Spider-Man, Men in Black, OG X-Men, Cornetto.
Did you say Oceans?
I did not say Oceans. Thank you.
Yeah. But
Perfect.
but anyway, Caleb, what did you have any other honorable mentions apart from Captain America?
Yeah, Captain America, obviously. My only other one was another comedy trilogy, and it's another one of those loose trilogies. It's the Monty Python trilogy. Holy Grail, Life of Brian, and The Meaning of Life. I think those 3 movies are, they're the narrative Monty Python movies. Narrative in quotes because they're kind of freeform, but they do kind of take a narrative look, unlike And Now for Something Completely Different, which is just a clip show of stuff from the Flying Circus.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are all very funny, and yeah, I like all 3 of those movies.
If they brought up Monty Python, I would have suggested them. So,
Yeah.
Cody,
I prefer Cornetto, but yeah.
Do you have any honorable mentions, Cody?
Gosh, no. I would have said the major leagues, Major League 2, and Major League Back to the Minors. But we were running out of spots fast, so I'm glad we ended it where we did because we were going to get some real stinkers after a while. I mean, we got 2 X-Men. Like, we ran out pretty fast.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm surprised Captain America didn't come up earlier. To be honest, but that's probably the only other one.
I think it was a misstep. I wouldn't have done Men in Black.
But Ryan, did you have any honorable mentions?
No, aside from Team Cap, which I will always be Team Cap, by the way. Captain America trilogy, we would have dug into the stink pile because I had like desperation moves would have been the Mummy or Blade trilogies.
Hey, don't hate on Blade.
Well, I only enjoy the first Blade. Well, actually, that's not true. I like the first one and the third one, but the second one I just didn't care much for.
Oh, I just thought of another honorable mention. The Madagascar franchise. All 3 of those movies are really fun.
Oofa. You're wrong. Good day, sir.
Madagascar 3 is underrated.
Wrong. Good day, sir.
Francis McDormand is funny
I said
in that.
good day. I said good day.
I mean, I did hit the Madagascar trilogy on my end, but
jeez.
But I also had Ace Ventura, even though the junior one was
no.
Ace Ventura. I like 1 and 2, but that spin-off movie they did doesn't exist.
But
I don't think it was released in theaters.
No, I don't think it was. It?
Yeah,
no,
I mean,
it wasn't. It was
it's why I didn't bring it up because that one would have counted against it. But but I also had Crocodile Dundee. I had Cloverfield. I had The Hangover. I had Harold and Kumar. I had Meet the Parents. I actually did have The Matrix on mine, but didn't.
Cloverfield with the Paradox.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the third one. Yeah, that's all 3 of them.
Oofa! Wow, what a bold choice, Cotton.
Well, I like the first 2 enough to want to like. If I felt comfortable, it would have gotten on. I would have said it earlier, but but because of Paradox, I just didn't want to risk it.
I haven't even seen Paradox yet.
I
mean, Brooklyn would have been happy, but I did have Santa Claus on mine.
Oh, Tim Allen.
Giving a yes to that.
Tim Allen. Woo.
And one that is technically a trilogy because there has been 3 movies based on this franchise. It's Rugrats because you've got the Rugrats movie, you got Rugrats Go to Paris, and you got Rugrats Go Wild. So I mean,
please get out. Please get out.
Rugrats.
You've gone wild.
But the last one I would have had if it got down to picking a
desperation move
is this is one that I didn't consider a trilogy until very recently, because our good buddy Matthew Coons has pointed out that Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, and Justice League could be considered a trilogy because the arc there, because the opening of Batman vs Superman is literally the final moments of Man of Steel, and then you've got and then
And
Superman
you would have
dies.
seen me die on screen. You would have
Yeah.
seen me die on screen.
He would have been one of the people in the buildings that got destroyed. He would have been dead.
But anyway, but
So
we're
bad.
down to the fun time where it's voting the order that we want this list to look like.
Okay.
So we all write what we think should be at number 12.
Okay. Writing the numbers.
I
here.
wrote this as soon as it got on the list, so my marker might be dried to the thick on the board.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Um,
Okay, let me see. Looking at the.
But Caleb, you look ready. What do you have for 12?
Here come the Men in Black.
Cody, what do you have for 12?
Here comes the Men in Black.
Ryan, what do you have for number 12?
Cornetto.
I mean, I was the one that brought up Men in Black, but I do think that they do come in at 12. So
Okay.
Couldn't agree more with you.
All right. Men in Black it is.
I mean, as
God,
Cody, as
we have
Cody,
a lot of strong on this list.
as Cody will always say with ranking shows, he does like putting things on, which is an easy 12.
You're not wrong. I don't play the you screwed me game. I play the I need an easy 11 and 12. Here comes the Men in Black.
It is a good theme song though.
I wish they would
The
have made
theme song for the third movie is done by Pitbull, and it's garbage.
I
Great.
feel like I could have been Pitbull. I could have just yelled random shit in songs and made millions of dollars.
Caleb, what do you have for 11?
Worldwide.
I have Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy.
Cody, what do you have for 11?
Sorry, Cornetto.
Ryan, what do you have for 11?
Trying it again. Cornetto.
I had the original X-Men,
Jeez.
but the original Cornetto makes 11. But
Who has the best
but
theme song
yeah,
on
I'm going to
Smith?
kick it off here. I'm going to keep the OG X-Men.
Jeez.
Ryan, what do you have for 10?
In this direction, I went with Lord of the Rings.
Oofa. Cody, what do you have for 10?
Oofa! I'm going with the OG X-Men.
Caleb, what do you have for 10?
Sticking with Raimi.
OG X-Men number 10. That is not. It's not cool.
Not the brain though.
As the only other here who likes all three of those movies, Ryan,
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings is still way mounds ahead.
That's your opinion. To each their own.
But
I know.
Caleb, are you sticking with Spider-Man for number 9?
Yes. I don't know why I erased it.
Cody, what do you have for number 9?
Looking at the overall things left on the list, it's kind of sad, but I have to go Spider-Man as well. 3 is really bad.
Ryan, what do you have for 9?
Lord of the Rings.
This is Bohemian Rhapsody all over again. You're gonna die on that hill.
Yeah, I've got the OG X-Men.
It already wins.
Yeah, it went at 10.
That's what forgot his Ojo.
So wait a minute. So that means the Spider-Man trilogy was number 9?
Well,
unless she votes for Lord of the Rings.
Spider-Man's will be number 9, because I probably would have gone in a different direction anyway.
You sure you didn't want to put Lord of the Rings at 9?
No. Besides, otherwise, it would end up as a tie.
You're not wrong.
Okay, we're at number 8.
Yeah.
This is like super tough. Let's give this one a shot and see what happens. No, I can't do that. Oh my god. Okay.
But yeah, Caleb, what do you have for 8?
X-Men Beginning Trilogy.
Cody, what do you have for 8?
I call them X-Men the new class. So I put that one.
Ryan, what
Cody
do you
and I
have
on
for
the
8?
same page.
Take a wild guess, Malcolm.
Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
I had the Oceans trilogy. Let's go rob casinos.
I'm with you. You want to go? I think we'll get caught and beat up, but it's worth a shot.
So it's X-Men Beginnings at 8.
Yeah, all new class.
I just had to vote because of there's a weaker one in that film. I mean,
Yeah,
Apocalypse is not great.
That's fair. You don't have to explain why you're voting the way you're voting. So
yeah, it just hurts me because I love those first two really hard.
Still going with the same response, Malcolm.
Caleb, what do you have for 7?
Planet of the Apes.
Bold move.
Cody, what do you have for 7?
Oceans 12's not that great.
Ryan, you've got Lord of the Rings, and I've got Oceans trilogy.
Right.
So Oceans is going to be 7.
It's not bad. I would have been okay with that.
And luckily, we haven't been at a point where we've had to go to the chat, surprisingly.
Yeah, let's be thankful. This might be it.
Once we get down to like top 5, I'm guessing we might have that.
Yeah, because this one I'm doing is a bold move. We'll see if it pays off.
Caleb, what do you have for 6?
Apes on Horses.
Cody, what do you have for 6?
I'm going the Avengers.
Ryan, what do you have for 6? If I
Same,
need to ask.
Same song and dance.
I've also got Apes on Horses.
Oh,
jeez, man.
Okay, it lasted where it should have. It's fine.
I mean,
yeah, it's up there, so at least it's up there.
I mean, this is the point where it's getting tough anyway. So
you're not wrong. This is probably the hardest rank I've ever been on because the first 3 I was like, that's easy. Now I'm like, I gotta cut children here. Good Lord.
So just to reiterate who we've got left, we've got Back to the Future, we've got Toy Story, we've got Avengers, Lord of the Rings, and The Dark Knight.
Oh, really? What was 5?
Those are 5 movies I said.
Oh, no.
Those are the 5.
Right.
Those are the 5
I
we've got left.
All right, for a second there, I thought you only said 4. I'm sorry. Never mind.
I'm going to take a bold move here.
Never mind.
See if it plays off.
Misunderstood.
Remember, we may not know where you live, but we can get on a plane.
Caleb, what do you have for 5?
I really hope Cody didn't change his answer. The Avengers.
Cody, did you change your answer?
Sorry, buddy. I did the Avengers.
Okay.
Ryan, you've still got Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I had the Dark Knight trilogy.
Ooh, bold move, Cotton. We'll see if it pays off. I think I want to do this one because I might see. Never mind. We'll play that.
Caleb, who do you have for 4?
I hope you didn't change your answer, Malcolm. The Dark Knight.
Cody, who do you have for 4?
Back to the Future.
Ryan, you've still got Lord of the Rings. I'm not going to ask you. I've got still got Dark Knight.
Oh,
good Lord! God, the Dark Knight is so.
So it's right now. It's down to Dark Knight, Lord of the Rings, Toy Story, and Back to the Future.
No, Toy Story, Back to the Future, and Lord of the Rings.
Back to the Future. Okay, yeah, you're good. Sorry, I said Dark Knight. I was an idiot.
Yeah, Dark Knight is at 4 now.
Okay, I'm doing something different here.
Hold on a second. Which one?
Ryan.
Bull move come.
Caleb, who do you have for number 3?
Ryan, don't you dare change your answer. Lord of the Rings.
Cody, who do you have for number 3?
Toy Story.
Ryan, who do you have? Did you change your answer?
No, still Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Because this is what made it very interesting. Because I've got a Toy Story. So chat.
Is everybody in the chat still?
Is there anybody even still watching?
I've had a few comments. But
looks like the cool guy says Lord of the Rings at number 3.
Yeah, so they're probably still around. So because that was a real.
And I think Stardrew is saying that Toy Story should be at number 3. So we're at an impasse.
We're still at an impasse. So
Right, somebody jump in there and just say Lord of the Rings and put this. I'm sick and tired of having to say
chat
Lord of the
and said
Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Sick and tired of saying it. Just say Lord of the Rings and get it over with.
Nope, I'm going to.
Honestly, I think we should give Ryan our grace and let him have Lord of the Rings off.
No.
But I'm going to do the other thing, which is what's made me nervous and what I have done in the past. But I'm going to do the random picker. I'm just setting it up now.
Great. Just say Lord of the Rings.
But don't we kind of understand? Don't we? Well, I mean, I guess we don't know, but don't we kind of know what the best trilogy of all time is?
But anyway,
oh gosh!
He's got wheel. He's got a wheel.
And
just say Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings is what is going to be at 3.
There you go. All right, finally.
All right, now we write down our number 1.
And
right?
I know Kristen Smith is going to be unhappy with that decision.
You think Kristen Smith is?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to console my client.
I mean,
your client.
I mean, I'm not happy with it too. It's one of those.
You show respect to the Fandom Fights champion and soon-to-be tag champion.
Whatever. Nobody cares how many belts that guy has.
Everybody does.
No, they don't. He's going to the Schmodown.
Kneel before Robert.
Anyway,
no way. I will never kneel before Robert ever.
I mean, instead of putting what you think is number 2, we're doing our number 1.
Oh yeah, I already wrote. I wrote it down. It's all here.
But anyway, Caleb, what do you have for number 1?
Toy Story. You got a friend in me.
Cody, who do you have for number 1?
Don't take money. Don't need fame. Don't need a credit card to ride this train. Back to the future.
Ryan, who do you have for number 1?
Dude, come on. I'm wearing the shirt. I pitched it from day 1. It's Back to the Future, buddy.
No.
And
unfortunately, I have just put down on here we do not have to go to the reel because I put down Back to the Future.
Woo! Yes!
Even
Nazario and I, and as well as all the fans who are watching this at home, are very happy people right now.
Oh, yeah, is that right?
Oh, Nazario is... Oh, he's going to love this. He's loving this. I'm very happy right now. Thank you, Malcolm. Thank you.
But anyway, no, thank the reel.
Yes, thank you, Will. Thank you, too. Golf clap.
But
I would be happy with Back to the Future or Toy Story being number 1.
Yeah, either one is a good pick. I'm not going to lie. Either one's a good pick.
Yeah.
But anyway, we have got our top 12 trilogies and our top 12 movie trilogies. We've got, at number 12, got Men in Black. At number 11, got the Cornetto trilogy. At number 10, we've got the original X-Men trilogy. At number 9, we've got the Spider-Man trilogy. At number 8, we've got X-Men New Class. At number 7, we've got the Oceans trilogy. At number 6, we've got Apes on Horses. At number 5, we've got the Avengers. At number 4, we've got the Dark Knight. At number 3, but it should be number 1, we've got Lord of the Rings.
Jeez.
At number 2, we've got Toy Story. At number 1, we've got Back to the Future. I mean, all in all, this was a fun list to do, and this is one I may actually end up revisiting again maybe next year because there is at least a few of them which is going to be ineligible next year because they've got new movies coming out this year. But I mean, all in all, this is a fun list and very fun to do. I will have a poll up either later today or tomorrow for next week. Next week, because we're going to have another Oscars related one. So I've got a few good topics in the Oscars realm. But anyway, Caleb, where can people find you online?
Yeah, you can find me. This was just announced, running Movie Warzone with Mr. Berryman over here. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. We got some new ideas coming out the pipeline. It's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, Brian Michaels is also going to be running it with us. The three of us, three amigos. I think it's going to be fun as long as Cody doesn't try to kill me. And find me playing trivia, all that good stuff. Oh, and my new podcast, Burns and the Boatman, or Will Burn Your House Boat Down, or whatever Jay decides to call it this week. It's Jay Burns and myself talking movies, talking TV, talking what we want. We did an episode on the Oscars. We did an episode on top 10 animated movies of all time.
Cody, where can people find you online?
Full Metal, Multiplex, Take 3. Confidential Cinema. I pop up all over the place. Watch me. 3 shows on Take 3, 2 shows, probably 5 shows at this point of Multiplex. Full Metal Geek, and backing Timber Kala and Robert the Hobbit Parker with all things. The Fellowship is going to rule Multiplex for another year. So get with the program or get out of our way. Manager of the year, buddy. Manager of the year.
Ryan, where can people find you online?
Oh, man, that was exhausting hearing that guy plug his own stuff. But anyway, you can find me on Facebook at Ryan Permison _ Aspiring Movie Critic. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel, Nerd Culture. That is our lovely logo right there on YouTube. We got videos up right now, brand new videos coming your way very soon. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at It's Nerd Culture. And don't forget to check out episodes of my podcast known as the Nerdcast. It's available on Anchor, Apple, and wherever podcasts are available. They're only 5-10 minute episodes. I talk about the latest goings on in the world of movie news. I review some of the latest films that have hit theaters, as well as films I've finally had the chance to catch up on about whether they're movies that came out a few years ago or several decades ago. It's all there. It's there for you to download for free. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. Thanks for having me, and I'll see you next time.
I mean, to be fair, Cody's plug is not as still not as long as Nico's or Caleb's, but you can find me on Take 3 Productions, hosting Rankin every Sunday night, and next week will be an Oscar one. It'll be on it. It may not be on the usual day. Because I've got something happening on that day, but it will happen at some stage of the week. But yeah, and you can also find me on Full Metal Multiplex, doing a bunch of trivia stuff there, and you can also find me on Letterboxd, Stardust, and Twitter at Malcor. And until next week, we'll see you when we rank 'em.